Now, after Linux fundamentals, we must have spent time on AWS, right? We must have spent time on AWS, understanding technologies in AWS. We must have spent time understanding technologies in AWS. We must have spent time understanding technologies in AWS and services in AWS. And we said one of the most important services we're going to see in AWS is servers. How servers are managed, how servers are used in the cloud. How is AWS managing servers? So we'll see how AWS they will take a server. AWS will take a server and they will split that server into smaller servers. AWS will take a server, they will split the server into smaller servers. Why? Let me give a practical example. It's like you've built a room, which is, let's say it's 8 meters square, right? And the room is too large. It's too large for one person to rent it. So you said to yourself, all right, because it is too large and expensive for one person to rent it, I can split this room into 4. I'll put a door here. I'll put another door here. I'll put another door here. I'll put another door here. So instead of one person renting this 8 meters square, I'll split the room into 4 and I'll have a tenant here. 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 This is a similar example of servers, right? You have a server, which we said is like a computer. And let's say this server is 20 GB. And one person is too expensive for one person to rent the entire server. So you decide to split the server into 4 different servers so that one person can rent this, another person can rent a small piece of this. So if you split into 4, you become 5 GB of RAM, 5 GB of RAM, 5 GB of RAM, 5 GB of RAM. So you have 4 persons renting the server instead of one person, which was too expensive. And not only expensive, this person may be able to pay for 20 GB, but the person may be underutilizing it because the person won't be able to consume the entire 20 GB, because this is one of the challenges we're going to see. So a technology was invented called virtualization. Very important in your career. So we used to have one server. Let's say this server has a RAM of 20 GB, a storage of 20 GB, a CPU of 8. This is one server. A company will buy this server, and that company is running an application on this server. This application may end up utilizing maybe just 20% of this server. The rest of the 80% This is all what the company is utilizing, 20%. The rest of this 80% is wasted. The rest of the 80%. So you have your laptop. I said servers are like laptop. They are like computers. You are using just 20% of the computer's resources. These are resources. The RAM, the storage, the CPU, they are resources. You're going to see all of these. So you're using just 20% of their resources. So you're wasting 80%. You're wasting 80% of the resources. Now, IT engineers, they develop a technology called virtualization.
Uh-huh.
They developed a technology called virtualization. What is virtualization? In simple words, if they ask you to explain virtualization to your grandma in your village, mine is in Guti, what will I say? Virtualization is a technology. Virtualization is a technology that I will use to partition one computer, to partition one server into several servers, into two or more servers. If I explain this to my grandma, Dola from Guti will understand. So there is one server. You have like one computer. You want to partition that computer into 4, into 2, into 3, into 10. The technology you're going to use to separate, to divide that one computer is called virtualization. This is the heart of your profession. When you call yourself a cloud engineer, when you call yourself a DevOps engineer, when you call yourself a system administrator, nobody should ask you a question on virtualization and you start eating your nails. This is the heart of your career. The career path you've chosen, this is the heart. The ability to take one server and partition that server into 2 or more servers. It is called virtualization. So we're going to understand this very deep, what we'll be doing, servers, cloud computing, and AWS with practical examples. Now, module 6 is on containerization and container orchestration. Beautiful. Some of you are hearing all of these terminologies for your first time. Don't panic. You are at the right place. These are critical technologies that if you want to become an expert in building and deploying applications, when you sit with your friends, they are talking about Facebook, they are talking about Snapchat and the rest. You are thinking about the technology behind it. That's the difference. From now moving forward, that's the difference. That's the line between you and your friends. When they're excited, oh, I'm on Snapchat, I'm on this, you are thinking about the technology. How is this technology built? Because you are an expert. So when you want to start understanding how deep technologies are built, how deep websites are built, how deep applications, all of these millions of applications that you're using, how are they built? The applications on your phone, the applications on your phone, the applications on the internet, all the websites, how are they built? You build them. You need to understand all of this technology. So module 6, we'll be spending time talking about containerization and container orchestration. What does that mean? These are just high-level explanations. By the end of 5 months, you'll be able to explain them more than me. Trust me. Containerization is just a big brother to virtualization. Remember, we talked of servers. I said because of the wastage of servers, a new technology was developed called virtualization. This is all about IT, or about studying. Something must be a problem, and a solution to that problem is a new technology. So the problem we had with servers, there are many. But one of the problems, glaring problems, which I just explained, which we're going to see all of the problems in our studies, one of the glaring problems is that most servers were underutilized. Now they came up with a technology whereby they can partition one server into two or more, so that instead of wasting, we can have 4 tenants here, 4 tenants. That technology is called virtualization. However, this virtualization also came with some limitations. Definitely, virtualization is logical partitioning. I'm not using those words because we are explaining to newcomers. So, virtualization, though it came to solve the problem with wastage of servers, but virtualization also came with some challenges. And another technology was invented to solve the challenges of virtualization. The name of that technology is called containerization. If the name is too long, just call them containers. Containers are improvement to virtual machines. So virtualizations are virtual machines. Containers are improvement to virtual machines. And some of you must have heard the most popular technology in containers, but maybe you weren't opportune to have such a class or such a lecture to understand what it is. The most popular technology in container or containerization is called Docker. There is no job in the market titled DevOps, titled Cloud, DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, system administrators without this requirement. There is no interview you will go as a DevOps engineer without having a question on Docker. This is the technology, this is the server technology, because all of these are servers. This is a server technology that every company, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Amazon e-commerce, Flipchart, every company is using to run its servers. It's called Docker. So you see how easy the book is. Though we are all new to IT, but at least we are understanding something. Then, because we said, have it in mind, that every technology will have a problem. A new technology will be invented to help solve that problem. That new technology that was invented to solve the problem may also have some problem. A new technology will be invented to solve that problem. So, in our case, we started with servers. We saw the limitations of servers. We went to virtual machines or virtualization. They are all servers. virtual machines came with some problems. We said, okay, let us solve those problems with virtual machines. We invented a new technology called containers or containerization. And I said the most popular technology in containerization is Docker. Containerization also came with some challenges, and another technology was added on top of containerization to make it at its best, which is called container orchestration. Container orchestration. So when you hear the name orchestration, you think about organizer, right? Orchestra. Think of orchestra. The conductor of an orchestra is a orchestrator. It's like a conductor. So this technology is like, it was invented to help organize containers, organize Docker. And the most popular technology in container orchestration is called, some of you must have heard it. Some of you who are new must have heard it, but you never knew what it is all about. Today, we are saying that that technology is called Kubernetes. Kubernetes. They call it AKA K8S. This is the nickname, Kubernetes. So we cannot explain, we can't go deep today about this, but if by the end of the class, someone asks you, what did you understand? What did you understand by servers, virtual machines, containerization, and container orchestration? Explain that server was the first invention to store information, to manipulate information, to present information to users, and all of that. But server had challenges. They invented virtual machines to help servers. Help in the sense means enhance servers. Virtual machines came, they had some issues. They invented containers, container machines to enhance virtual machines. Containers came with some issues. They now invented container orchestration and to enhance containers. Any question? Any question? All right. So by the end, you have understood all of these. You add another profession under your belt, which is called system administrator in IT, or operations engineer. So far we've seen about 5 professions in IT: network engineer, cloud engineer. We may also add server engineer. So in the course of our study, we've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen this. So these are already 5 professions that you can identify yourself with. So this is how special we've designed the course for Africans. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. We've tailored the course to suit our African needs. All right. So now you have understood every technology, every concept to be able to deploy an application. You've understood technology's concept to be able to create environment to create environment to deploy, to run. When I say deploy, I'm talking about running an application. So you've created an environment that, for example, you are the one who deployed or who has to deploy Facebook. You've already built the environment for Facebook to run on. When you understand all of this, you have built the environment for Facebook to run on. Now, how do you run Facebook? I keep saying that you, as an expert, your responsibility will be to run Facebook, to deploy Facebook, to ensure that Facebook is running, to ensure that YouTube is running, to ensure that LinkedIn is running, to ensure that Instagram is running, to ensure that your Snapchat or what, all of these applications are running, to ensure that you can access all of these e-commerce applications online. You can go to websites. You are doing a research. The website is up and running. Now, that is what we are leading to, or that is where we are leading to. Module 7 will study, deep study on how applications are built. We'll take series of case studies like Facebook, like Instagram, like YouTube, like Netflix, all of the, you even build Netflix. I have my own Netflix, which I call Nguti Netflix. You can build yours. Be proud of your village. Build your own Netflix for your village. Use my concept and build yours. Don't call yours Nguti because you are not from Nguti. Build yours. So, how are you going to get to that point where you can hit your chest and tell your parents that, hey, mommy, take this IP address. Mommy say, wait to be IP address. Say, no, just run up for your phone. Open up for you, say runner. You want open, you run and say, want see some page come out. You have built something for a happy Mother's Day. It come out for you with your name, everything. Then your parents will start be proud of you. They say, this 4 years where you don't graduate, therefore I'll say at least you don't do something, because at one moment we become burden to our parents. We are not the problem, they are not the problem, but it is human nature, right? But when you start doing these little things, your boyfriend won't leave you. He will come back and say, there's future, this girl get future. But when you are just there consuming from morning to night, you have nothing to bring on the table, you boy, they be gigolo. You are nothing to. Which girl go steal you, even if she's doing the charity? But when there is hope, you see you every day, you're busy on your computer, you're building an application, you say, baby, run this IP address on your browser, let's see. You run, you say, yeah, the show. You say, okay, a moment, please, I'm still working on it. There is an error. You do say running now. You want run now. You say, oh, hi, baby, I miss you, I love you. You write a name. He will smile. He will take screenshots, send them for a friend. Them say, see what my girlfriend built. So we will spend a lot of time understanding how applications are built. The life, that's what we're talking about in module 7. The life cycle is like human beings. You get life cycle, right? From the time they born you, after we die, now your life cycle that as a human. We're going to understanding the life cycle of software deployment. How do we build, deploy, maintain, upgrade, change applications? That's what is called SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. We'll understand all of the other technologies that we need to use to build applications, to deploy. You see how beautiful it is. You'll see some code, some writing. You use only some writing. You run that writing, it become an application. It starts show pictures. It starts show normal writings and the rest. We're going to see all of that. Now, how is this possible? It leads us to Module 8, what is called Dev plus Ops. It is a marriage. It is a marriage of two professionals. It is a marriage of two IT professionals. On the one side, we have software developers. These are IT professionals who write software. They use languages called programming languages like Java, like C#, like Python, like Node.js, like Go. There are hundreds of these languages that they will use to write the code of this application. That is their duty. Their duty is to write this code. They are called software developers. That's what we are representing in dev, developers. Then you and I, we are called operations. You and I, we are called operations. That's what is represented in this marriage. We are represented as ops. So the marriage is dev plus ops becomes DevOps. So when you hear DevOps, it's not a technology, it's a marriage of two professionals. For us to be able to build and deploy application, it is done by two IT professionals, software developers, and you and I, we are called operations. We are called system administrators. So by combining both, it becomes DevOps. So when you see all of these beautiful applications online, millions of these applications, they are built, they are written by developers, and they are deployed and maintained by the operations. So that is where the name DevOps, or how the name DevOps came about, for that collaboration of these two professionals. I said, you must collaborate, you must work hand in gloves. It's like you are married to a woman, you don't collaborate with her, or a woman is married to a man, you guys don't collaborate, the family will never grow. When you act independently, the family will never grow. But when you collaborate, there are chances for better results. Your kids will be happier, right? So it is the same. These two professionals were operating in isolation. They were operating in isolation for several years, and it affected the industry. It affected Module 7, Software Development Lifecycle, because they were operating separately in silos. It affected software development lifecycle. It affected the quality. It affected the time to market. Now, they said, no, let us bring these two professionals together, and we call them DevOps. So when you hear DevOps, it's not a technology. It is not a technology, right? It's a profession, or they are professionals. DevOps is not a technology. Now, it takes us to Module 9. The book not difficult. That's what I usually say. Now, I fear. It takes us to Module 9. Module 9 is titled CI/CD.